So, how does a business convince you that they're the one and only guide you need in a totally chaotic market? Today, we're going to deconstruct a real company's strategy, and we're only using their own public materials to do it. We're looking at the Pilarski Group to see exactly how a brand builds that kind of trust and becomes the calm in the storm.
If you're anywhere near Toronto, this question has almost certainly crossed your mind. How on earth do you even start to navigate the real estate market? It's more than just a challenge. For a lot of people, it feels like you're trying to solve a maze that's literally changing shape while you're in it.
I mean, think about it. You're not just buying or selling a house. You're trying to time these constantly shifting interest rates, predict how other people are going to behave, and somehow understand pricing that can be completely different from one street to the next. It's not just complex, it's honestly overwhelming. And that's the exact moment a guide becomes absolutely essential.
And right into that complexity, a guide emerges. For our case study, that guide is the Pilarski Real Estate Group. So let's break down how they position themselves to be the answer to all that chaos.
Okay, so what's their first move? They establish authority with just one number, 20 plus. Now this isn't just years in business. No, this is a statement. It's meant to tell you they've seen it all. The booms, the busts, and every wild, unpredictable market you can imagine in between.
And all that experience is personified by their leader, Julian Pilarski. But look at the language they use here. In a market that's known for being frantic and full of high-pressure sales tactics, their chosen tone is calm, professional guidance. That's not an accident. It's a very deliberate, very powerful counter-narrative.
These three principles are basically their strategic answer to market anxiety. First, you've got honest, straightforward advice to cut through all the noise. Second, deep local knowledge to show they go way beyond generic data. And third, there's that calm approach again, positioned as their key differentiator. See how it works? This is how they build their foundation of trust.
So that's the who and the why. Now let's get to the how. How does this all translate into their actual playbook for clients? What does the Pilarski approach really look like in practice?
Well, it starts with a team-based model, and this is so key. The idea is you're not just hiring one agent, you're getting a whole collective brain trust. The promise they're making here is that you'll get more strategic insight and maybe even more importantly, a safety net that makes sure no detail gets missed in such a huge transaction. And then they boil their entire client journey down to these three simple steps. Just notice the progression. It starts with listening, understanding your goals, then it moves to educating, explaining your options. It's only after that that they create a plan. It just feels structured, totally transparent, and, pressure-free.
And the outcome of this whole structured process, they call it a concierge-level experience. That language is really strategic. It's designed to elevate the whole thing from just a simple transaction to a high-touch, fully managed service. It's a promise that they say is built on service, integrity, and, of course, results. All right, so that's the playbook they present. But a great strategy doesn't mean much without proof, right? Where's the actual evidence that this approach really works? Let's take a look at their expertise in action.
This is where that micro-market principle really comes to life. They aren't trying to claim they're experts on everything everywhere. Instead, they're signaling deep, specialized knowledge in very specific communities. This tells a potential client, hey, we understand the little nuances of these areas, right down to the street level.
And their proof of expertise covers a really wide range of the market. They'll start by showing their work with entry-level condos, right around that $600,000 mark. This signals that they totally get the needs of first-time buyers and investors in the city.
Then they move up to the mid-range. This price point shows they can also cater to growing families, or maybe people who are looking to upgrade. It demonstrates versatility and an understanding of that next stage in a client's life.
And finally, they showcase high-end properties that are well over $1 million. So, by displaying this entire spectrum, from that first condo to the family home to a luxury property, they're making a very clear strategic statement. We have the breadth of expertise to handle your journey, no matter how complex it is or what the price point is.
But numbers and neighborhoods, they only tell part of the story. The most powerful proof for any service-based business is always the final verdict from the people who've actually been through it all. The clients themselves.
Just listen to this from Colleen Anderson. She immediately highlights the difference, which reinforces that unique positioning they're going for. And that phrase, over the moon, that's not just positive feedback. That signals an experience that completely blew away their expectations.
Then you have this from Alicia Rose, which is all about loyalty. I mean, working with them twice? That is the ultimate vote of confidence. And the phrase, we would trust no other,
Wow, that is about as strong an endorsement of their integrity as you could possibly get.
And finally, Scott Pearson's quote speaks directly to a potential client's single biggest fear, making the wrong choice. The message is simple, direct, and incredibly powerful. Do not hesitate. It's the ultimate reassurance for anyone who might be sitting on the fence.
So when you put it all together, the strategy becomes crystal clear. They take that initial problem, a complex, chaotic market, and they position themselves as the solution. They promise to transform that chaos into a confident, clear decision, and they do it all through strategic guidance and that deep local expertise.
Which kind of leaves us with a bigger question. This was a case study in real estate, but these principles, they apply everywhere. Whether we're talking about finance or tech or medicine, in any complex field, what is it that truly defines a guide you can trust? Something to think about.